I guess, can wear thongs too if they find thongs more comfortable or thrilling. I don't know. Anyway, he's kind of wilding out, right? He's hitting the streets in a thong. There's been paparazzi capturing them, having moments that seem very heated. She's got how many kids now? Is it 3? Anyways, Jay-Z brought her out at this concert, which is kind of weird considering the past. And we know that his wife isn't that fond of Rihanna. But they did collab together in the past. I don't know. I don't know if any of that works. I'm not from Hollywood. Anyway, remember like a year or 2 ago, Rihanna was singing at a bar or some kind of event, and she kind of got up to sing just for fun, and it sounded like shit. And then everybody was like, okay, either Rihanna can't sing, but all of her fans were like, she's trolling. She's trolling. And I already know fans will just say anything. Like, I hope I don't ever get to that point with a celebrity where I'm like, I don't want to give that a second look or a second thought, because I'm just so over, I'm like in love with them that much. I don't think she was trolling, because Jay-Z brought her out and she performed, and it again sounded like shit. And she did not perform that well either. She was kind of just clapping around. Granted, out of practice, but if you're going to come do an event, you gotta practice, right? And she was just up there. It didn't look like she was taking it very seriously. I did not, this is here nor there, but I did not like the costume. I don't think it did her any favors. So now, that's 2 times we've heard her in the past couple years that it just doesn't, I don't know, can singers just lose their vocal abilities? Do they just need to practice again, or can your voice change so much that you just cannot carry a tune? She doesn't need to tour, she's made her money, she can just chill. But that felt like she didn't want to. But then if you don't want to just chill, then get back to work, because that's not cutting it. I would be a little pissed if I was a fan and that was the quality of work I was getting now, personally. Okay, speaking of concerts and events, we have Travis Scott that's his name, right? Why does that sound weird right now? Kylie Jenner's baby daddy brought his 8-year-old daughter out on stage with him, and it was super awkward. He brings her up on stage, and she's just kind of following her daddy around, and he's not even looking at her. As a parent, when you bring your kids somewhere that's a little intense, you're kind of like, you're vigilant, you're gauging how they're doing, He's just bopping around, not even looking back, and she's just trying to sing with him and stuff, but he's not even looking at her. And I honestly felt really bad for the kid. She just looked like he could have held her hand, or kept a hand on her shoulder, or just not done it at all. Maybe she begged, let the kid lead if it's something like that. If the kid's like, Dad, when can I? Okay, I get it, but you still should make sure that they're comfortable, because kids say they want to do stuff all the time and then chicken out last minute, So he kind of dropped the ball on that. From that, I know we shouldn't judge on just one interaction alone, but does he even take his kids? Is he a dad? It didn't feel like it. I watched some stuff about their past. Remember when they did that don't think he spends any time with them. I think they strictly were hooking up and managed to have 2 kids that way. And they, of course, because of Chris, they tried to make it look like they were a hot, hot couple, but I don't even think they were that. I don't think they were a couple. I think they were just hooking up, because how do you not know your baby mama, the mother of your child? You don't know her dog. You guys have a kid. You don't go over there and say like, hey, Toto. Hey, Spot and Toto. Like, you don't know the dogs' names. Your kid talks about their own pets, right? It would be impossible to know my son for more than a day and not know what his dog's name is, because he would say something about his dog. Anyway, they're a mess. We've got the fire escape girl. Oh, Lord. She reminds me of the ghosts of roommates past, the ghosts of some friends past. I don't know what her diagnosis is or should be, but there's some stuff going on there. She is the girl that moved out to New York City from, I don't know, somewhere I think in the Midwest. And she's had 5 subleases in a year. A sublease is where you're just kind of month to month, you're renting out a bedroom, right? Month to month. And so she's on her 5th or her 6th or whatever. And she started making TikToks because she was fed up with her roommate. And her roommate didn't want her to leave the fairy lights on in the living room. And her roommate didn't want her to share her, like, shelf in the fridge, but originally that had been the fire escape girl's rule. The whole thing got really convoluted, but she just kept going on TikTok to make kind of rants about her roommate and all the nonsense that she was putting up with, but it seemed relatively low stakes. And then she said, she's a starving artist trying to make it in New York. And we got to see her art. And it was polymer clay fidget thumbprint things. And I don't think you can survive off that. I don't know why she thinks she can survive off that without having another job. No, that is her job, okay? That's her job. She expects to make it by making these polymer clay figurines and selling them on Etsy. But like, her Etsy's shut down so she can make them. Like, no more orders. I need to work on making them. Ma'am, you don't have another job. You can keep up with the fidgets. So her roommate gives her like 30 days to get out, and she's panicking. What am I gonna do in 30 days? And then they have a text discussion, and the roommate actually says, you know what, you can stay. I'll leave. And she's like, okay, well then I need to find another roommate. So she starts looking for another roommate. And then the original roommate says, no, never mind, I'll probably just stay, which she shouldn't have said it. Like, the other roommate is not 100% in the right. But she's definitely more right. Especially after somebody starts making TikToks about you. Like, okay, we're done being nice to each other. Or even considering each other at that point. So she does find a roommate, somebody to live with her there, and then they don't meet the financial requirements. So she starts a GoFundMe. No. Does she get another job? No. Does she even start making her polymer clay stuff real fast so she can sell it? No. Her next few TikToks were like her playing with a dollhouse and setting it all up with like her little cat figurines and stuff. She also weaponizes a lot of her past too. And sometimes it's valid, right? Like, I can't live with somebody that yells because of my past, but no, she weaponizes everything. I need to take up space because of my past. I need to because of my, like, ma'am, these are surface level interactions. You gotta grow up. You gotta grow up and you gotta get through these things without bringing up your past. So she starts the GoFundMe, and I think it got taken down. I don't know why. I mean, that's regular sublease or living on the fire escape. I don't know. I really honestly think that girl needs a little bump upside the back of the head. I think she's a brat. Okay. Hide your husbands. Hide your sons. Hide your sons. Hide your husbands. The boys are cutting into their eyes. Okay? The alpha males are cutting into their eyes because they are so concerned with their looks. They are obsessed with their looks. And I'm confused because, growing up when you're younger as a woman, a young woman, you get obsessed about all your little flaws, and that goes away with time. Thank God. Well, it should go away with time if you're working on yourself. Hopefully, you're at a point when you're just a person that never thought like that. Like, I always envy people that, okay, this is how I look. Like, that's the goal, right? It's called being a human being and having a face and a body. Find a couple parts of yourself that you're obsessed with in a good way and forget about the rest. Anyways, these guys, these alphas, want to have hunter eyes. They feel like if your eyes aren't wide enough, or if the tips point down at all, which mine kind of do. I don't know. I don't really know. I'm not looking that hard. And if I start, somebody put me in for a medication update. Anyway, they are taking, trigger warning, okay? They're taking, and they're cutting from here to here, and they're cutting from here to here to widen their eyes. Do you know how much damage you can do by taking blades to your area, to that area? And there's tutorials on YouTube of how to do it. They use this one guy was using a protractor to show you, because they can't really show you, right? They come on and they do before and afters, and yes, there's a difference. They're like, oh, it's still bleeding a little. The thing also is, it's not a one-time deal because the cuts heal. So every 3 weeks is their routine, their schedule for this. They are slicing them back open. And I cannot think of anything less male and masculine than being that concerned with your eye shape. I can't. Well, maybe it's up there. is not. I don't know. But I sure as hell do not believe that just a black swimsuit should be getting people in a tizzy. Because everybody and their mothers and their daughters, me and you, your cousin and your mama too, your mama and your cousin too, got our black swimsuits, our black one-piece swimsuits. Okay, the Dolly Parton Devil's Side. I don't know what to think about this. So, you know, we had Taylor and Travis Swift. Is that what it is now? We had their wedding. We talked about that. And I guess they donated to some charities, and one of the charities that they donated to is Dolly Parton's book charity, where she sends out books to the kids that can't afford books, which is great. Every kid should have books in their home. But she gets on to make a thank you, and she's like, she's old, right, you guys? She's old, all right. But she's like, I have to thank you, you know, Travis and Tina, Travis and Taylor, for this very charitable donation. She goes, and then, since you guys are so, you know, gifty, I would like to have your firstborn child. And she makes like the devil horns like this. I don't know if I'd like to think that's just her, just, you know, doing her like little, you know, nail things and stuff. I don't know. It did look weird. I don't want to just jump straight to conspiracies. It's also a weird thing to do while you're talking about I need your firstborn child. I just never thought of Dolly like that. Like she could be one of them. But you do never know. There was another clip where she's standing next to Jennifer Aniston, who has been involved in a lot of that pizza talk. Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston. It's bizarro, okay? But I think she's standing next to Jennifer Aniston. They're about to do a shot. They're cheersing, and she says, to the god Ezeal or something like that, and it's like a fallen angel.